Hey, we are right on time. We are right on time. It's 10 p.m. And I hope everybody is well relaxed, that you are sitting in bed or on your couch or wherever you may be watching because we gotta talk, y'all. We gotta talk. What happened today? But anyways, it's not a surprise to us because we anticipated what transpired in court today. We all said, Mr. Nisi, Mr. Ramusipili, Mr. Ngumalo, and Ms. Mshololo, all they have to do is don't go international to the British colonies when we have the Constitution. The Constitution is the one that is going to persuade Rada to rule in favor of Mr. Mube because there's no precedent that supersedes the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. It is our supreme law. So I was very happy and glad that none of them, maybe it was Ngumalo who quoted a few, I think it was like some kind of guide or whatever it was. But Mr. What's his name? Mr. Mnisi? No. He was like, nah, I'm just going to use the Constitution. That's all I'm going to do in making my submissions because this is a constitutional matter. We are talking about somebody's constitutional rights to see a medical practitioner who is hearing things that he has no clue what are you talking about. Which brings me back to Mabasa. Mabasa, hey, you better hope and pray that those x-rays, when they come back, they are going to agree with you, or at least partially agree with you. Because if there are no traces or troughs or what you call this meandering of whatever shape that gold tooth was, you got some answering to do. For example, you see gold in Mr. Mube's uh, quadrants or one of the quadrants. And who put it there? Who put it there? You got to answer that question because Mr. Mube, here's the scientific proof that he never had it. That is, if the scientific proof will prove that he never had it with the confidence that he has, yeah, I don't think he ever did. So when I get as the witness, uthathapi, where do you get these gold teeth from or gold tooth? Where are you getting it from? Obviously, I mean, photos can be edited, right? So when your job, instead of analyzing, you also analyze at the same time, fagama spices a little bit to make it to drive a certain narrative. Hmm? Now you gotta say who ordered you in the slew of witnesses that we've had from the subs that said put a gold tooth in one of the quadrants. And secondly, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, a quadrant is somewhere up here, right? Right? Somewhere. And are you telling me when they intruded, let's say they were intruders, keep putting money in the phone. You're telling me you're doing like this, for time, keep money in the phone. So much so that you can see all the way back. And then you tell the cops in your statement, oh, one of them had a gold tooth. Versus when I say, Fata keep animal in the phone, you can see my what do you call this? My four teeth. That oh, there's something also he has in his mouth. But Mshatini, guys, you can tell this was crafted. This is crafted. Let's not make it too obvious because it's not obvious that he has a gold tooth. But if we put it somewhere around here, we can always argue with that. If you look closer, just like Mabasa was saying, if you look closer, you will. And now he needs to answer Shem. Once this is done, where do you get the gold tooth from? Secondly, who ordered you to put it there, edit it in? Because it sounds like some editing, serious editing took place and to pin and drive this narrative that he is one of the accused that was pointed out by the eyewitnesses. I find it very, very interesting that from Danzi, who was actually taken to a dentist, they said it was him. How jiggy jiggy. It's now accused number three. How do they do this with a conscience? Somebody asked yesterday, how do they sleep at night? I doubt that they care, because you have to be a person that does not care in order for you to do what they are doing to these accused people of a crime they did not commit. And I did see somebody trying to be sarcastic. I saw your sarcasm and I wanted to respond, and I thought my comment section is, it's a problem, guys. It's problematic. Now, okay, I want to address this as well. I've seen some of y'all saying that I've gone AWOL on you guys. Okay, let me explain. So in January, when the Senzo Meyiwa trial resumed, I think it resumed on the 8th of January to see the state of readiness, and then it was postponed for the 19th, I think. And then on the 19th, it then came to, oh yeah, the 8th, Mr. Muzi Sibia was to decide whether he is going to get himself a whole new lawyer or is going to appoint from the existing ones. So he appointed Mr. Mnisi. So Mr. Mnisi then, on the 19th, when they came back of January, they said, please postpone so that Mr. Mnisi goes and familiarize himself with Mr. Muzi's case. And so they said they will timelessly come back just to check his state of readiness, which ended up being 4.5 months. Now, yes, I admit that the first month I was not around because I thought, okay, the matter is postponed until I think it was sometime in March, April, sometime in April, because I think they came twice in April. And so I was like, okay, let me do other things. And plus, my 2025 started off very, very badly. There were some miscalculations that happened, and I was busy trying to fix everything. And I'm still fixing those things, by the way. I'm not out of the woods yet. I'm still there, but at least I'm towards the end of fixing those things. So 2025 did not start off good. So I needed to focus. And I was also glad that it all happened during the time when this case was postponed. So I have not been absent because I did start on the second month, third, and fourth while they were gone. I was uploading. I was uploading my commentaries on sometimes current affairs, sometimes something that I thought about or something that I've seen in the news, and then I would make a video. And yes, my videos were quite spicy, I must say, and that got a whole new group of people that subscribed. I haven't abandoned them either because now that the court is going on recess, then I'm gonna resume those commentaries that I made in that 3.5 months. So I think maybe the algorithm was not feeding you guys my new content that I was posting. As a result, you thought I had abandoned you. I saw you say I ghosted you. I saw that comment. And Ticolisa, I also saw you complaining. No, I've been around actually. I actually have been around. I was uploading probably 7 times a week in some instances. Some instances would be 4 times a week. But I think for 4 weeks, I was uploading 7 times a week, Monday to Sunday type of situation. So I've been around. I have been around. It's just that it was a whole new content that I was putting out. And of course, when the Senzo Meyiwa trial came back, I jumped back on, and then the algorithm clearly started feeding you again my videos because that's what you signed up for, and that's what the algorithm knows you for, the Senzo Meyiwa matter. Now that we are going to have the Tabo Bester trial soon, I hope you are going to stick around because the Senzo Mayo one at some point will come to an end. And I also saw people asking me about the AVL as well as inspection in local. Well, it's the same question I'm asking myself because I remember Mr. Mnisi prior to a postponement, he made a request that since Ukininda is disputing Danzi's version of Fosloras at the police station called the parking lot, then let's go there. Then let's go and see what Ndanzi is talking about, and let's see what Brigadier Gininda is also talking about, so that let the court decide who's telling the truth between the two people. Ngendlela abashaya indiva ngakhona, it's not surprising, I must say, on the state side, because I thought the state, it needs to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they believe they have great prospects of winning this matter, they would have actually followed up on that request because they are confident that the investigating officer is telling the truth. If we go to Foster's police station, are we going to find an obstruction that Muzi is talking about, not Danzi, Muzi is talking about, and two, the everything that Muzi Sibia described, are we going to find it there or not? Also, the description of the buildings that Gininda was talking about, including the mall, the Golden Spot, which is almost, I would say, maybe 250 meters apart from the police station and the parking lot. And he says they are all close by to get that local inspection in local is needed. I agree. And secondly, there was an order that the judge made about the AVLs. Every AVL of every police vehicle that was involved in the transportation of Musisibia. And then what happened? Mr. Baloy came back with some statements. Like, accept this. Anything beyond that, sorry, we are non miracle performers. It's not going to fall from the sky. Convenient, right? Very, very convenient. Just like this entire trial, in my observations, has been nothing but yes, let's get over and done with. Accept that these people are guilty. I wanna add on to my victories, the belt of victories, because apparently since Mr. Balo, this is apparently, I'm not saying it's a fact, I don't know, but I've heard people say in the beginning of this trial that the prosecutor, Mr. Baloy, has won 99% of his cases. And now I'm asking myself, if this is true, you're telling me there are a number of people who are probably serving life in prison and lengthy other prison sentences, possibly of crimes they did not commit? Looking at what's happening now, one has to go back. You have to go back. And I'm just thinking to myself, if I was prosecuted by Baloy and I know most of the things that he had said that made him win because he works with some type of characters to collect the evidence for him, I would appeal. I would, okay, fine. Maybe they're waiting and maybe they have consulted with their lawyers and the lawyers advise them, hey, listen, let's wait until the Senzo Meyiwa trial is over. That way, we have something tangible to present to court. For example, they already have the Kratchuk one, and now you have the biggest one, which is Senzo Meyiwa, which, if you read the wording, it's almost the same, the confessions, almost the same. I mean, the margin is like this thin. So now, of course, now what do we have here? We have modus operandi. So that means the way Brigadier Keninda does things. That is, if that's how he does things. All right. So it's going to be interesting. Maybe that's what they have been advised. Let's wait until this one is over so that we build a solid case against him as well as the state, and so that you can sue and win some nice cash. Because listen, right now, Ndanzi as well as Muzisibiya, They are they're if I were them, I would actually be smelling the treasury vault for all of this. This is malicious prosecution based on, from what we are seeing, lies. So, what court of law in this country will not award them a malicious prosecution judgment? And once they win the malicious prosecution judgment, and they take it now, they take that judgment to the civil court, and they say, well, when I was arrested, I was 24 years old. That means that I had my entire world at my disposal, and I had dreams. Working at the mines was just a stepping stone for bigger dreams. Because that's what they can do. Like put a whole dream, and how much that dream would have made you an income a month, a year, a decade, and claim it. Because when you sue in South Africa, you need to quantify it. It's not like in the United States where you say, I'm suing for 100 million rand or 100 million dollars, and then you argue, you don't have to prove how did you get to 100 million dollars. In South Africa, you have to quantify it. You have to say, what is it that made you come to this conclusion? That's when you have to produce receipts. That's when you have to produce evidence of some sort of where you spent money. Of course, at some point they did spend money for private lawyers. All that money has to come back when you are suing, plus with interests. Now we have probably going to have bet at some point. So with all of those stuff, and then quantify the loss of income because he worked at the mine. You look at his salary at that time when he was arrested, and at this point when the trial is over and he's acquitted, how much that salary would have increased over the period of the past 5 years. Plus, now you have a criminal record, which is going to affect, even if it's expunged, but still, there are those people who will always prejudice against you for a mere fact that they've seen you being dragged to court for whatever reason. And that could actually affect your employability or your what's the word? Employability. Are you an employable with that cloud hanging and hovering over your head? Let's also not forget psychological, emotional, physical, and all of that stuff, trauma that you suffered. And probably you might actually need a psychologist therapy or whatever the case might be for probably the rest of your life. And who's going to pay all of that? So you see, you are quantifying how did you get to that point? Why did you come to 50 million rand, which I think he should go for? That's just me. Because he was 24 years old and anything could have happened in this 24, I mean, in this 5 years. He could have struck luck somewhere. Who knows? And all of those things that need to be added on in his lawsuit. Same goes with Moses Sibia. Moses Sibia, okay, he was unemployed, but he was still a young man himself. Oh, let's also not forget the children without a father. The trauma they went through before things started getting a little bit settled. And I'm sure they are living off their grandparents' grant and possibly their own grants as well. But all of that happened suddenly. And now they had to work and put things together. That's trauma for the family too. The sole breadwinner or the prime breadwinner was yanked out of them. And that trauma on the children, they also need therapy. Add, boom, boom. And I think that is why Baloy is fighting tooth and nail, because I still say in a situation like this, there should be a law that says, okay, Mr. Baloy, that also goes for the police. That says, okay, you have caused this and the state had to pay so much. Now, from your pocket, either we take your pension We dip into your pension to repay the state, or we take a portion of your salary every month. And I believe if we did something like that, things will be in the straight and narrow in South Africa, because once you hit somebody's salary, the mind changes. You start doing things the right way because you don't want to jeopardize your pension fund. You also don't want to jeopardize your salary. Mm. And let's also not forget about your reputation, because you need to build a reputation. I mean, Mr. Baloy, at some point, he would like to be appointed a judge, or better yet, a constitutional court judge. And how are you when you have something like this hanging over your head type of situation, knowing that you cost the state so much money? There gotta be consequences, unfortunately. There has to be consequences. So that is to answer some of the questions that I got from you guys. But the AVL, we need them, and I will also add that AVL, Ekazungu, and the police that accompanied him to KwaZulu Natal. Remember that sometime early August, we need, is it early August or September 2023? We need that AVL. Now that things in this trial are happening, and rightfully so, Mr. Mube was like, hey, I don't trust y'all. I don't trust the state from everything that I have seen and heard, and involving me in something I know nothing about. I'm sorry, I cannot trust the state. And we are all in that same boat with Mr. Mube, those of us who are on that boat. Mhm. So this is not what it's supposed to be, guys. The citizens supposed to have faith in the state apparatus. We all need to have faith in them. But in South Africa, Haibo. I mean, look at Sasa, a whole Ethiopian, allegedly a kingpin who stole over 280 million rand of taxpayers' money that was meant for who? For the poor and the destitute of this country, the citizens. And some of these monies were being funneled outside the country. Hmm? And we're not supposed to be thinking like that, like, huh? And now, when you, in hindsight, and you start thinking about the people who've been rejected by SASA, only to find out that the reason why they were rejected is because their IDs were already earning for somebody else, and in most cases, not a South African citizen. Yeah, I'm with Mr. Mube there. I was like, yeah, sir. But I was a little bit nervous because I thought that was an order from Judge Rata that the dentist is going to be a state dentist. I saw somebody said something so hilarious that he's an SPCA nurse, and they'll say that, oh, they were just gonna go to the an SPCA doc, I mean nurse, and say, oh yeah, this is Doctor whoever. She did the. Hey, man, you guys can be naughty sometimes, but I love y'all. Let's go to the live comments. Tapita says, hi, Clantus. Defense did. They did. They did very well. I like that they did not adhere to what Judge Rata wanted from them, those cases. Nothing more we can request. Absolutely. And when Mr. Mnisi started quoting Section 35 of the Constitution, I was like, no way Judge Rata will rule differently. No way. No way he's going to rule in favor of the state. And speaking about the state, I'm still trying to digest what I think I was hearing from Dr. Siband. What was he saying, guys? Because you need to have logic. The logic comes from what? It comes from the arguments that were submitted. You answer and rebut what has been submitted by the defense. But he says, no, do not grant this request. And I'm like, on what grounds? Because they argued on the grounds of constitutionality. When what is your ground that is going to override the Constitution? That's all that I wanted to hear from him. That's why I was looking forward. I was like, yes, I can't wait after a long adjournment when Dr. Sibanda takes the floor and is going to come and sweep the floor of the defense by quoting. I don't know what document he was going to quote from because, again, the Constitution of the Republic is the supreme law. How do you rebut it? I don't think any precedent can persuade a court when it comes to the fundamental constitutional rights of a South African, well, and other people. Because now it looks like, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say here, but I don't want to get into that. Busisiwa says, Clancy's very true. Ntanzi was taken to dentist analysis. Now, Mube, state case is over. Like, when did we move from Untanzi being the one who had a gold tooth to now accused number three? Are you saying that the eyewitnesses were drunk? Because what you write in the statement, maybe, I mean, we didn't even hear that there was an amendment of the statement where they said, oh, by the way, we were intoxicated. We thought it was the tall guy. Actually, it was the shorter guy who had a gold insertion. So what changed? How did it change? You see, they're busy cooking. Tafida says, this is a moment that Judge Rata can take off this yoke of lies and shut it off. This case with section 174. Yeah, I would have thought that would have happened after the DNA. You see, the DNA for me is the key that locked this case and threw it in the ocean. And section 174, the order of the day, and let Gininda go and get the real people, which whom I think he knows who they are in his investigations. Why they are being protected, only goodness knows. Only goodness knows. And then Tafia continues to say, because the dentist report is going to mash up the state. Yeah, mess it up. It's going to turn it on its head. I thought it was going to be Absalom Zungu that was going to turn this case on its head. Mm-mm. No, we were going too far. It's going to be the dentist report. And I cannot wait for it. I hope everything's going to be done during the recess. Oh, no, Mr. Nisi said he wants to take a chill pill during the recess because he did not have the opportunity, which is true in April. He was busy reading volumes upon volumes of the transcript so that he can best represent Mr. Sibia. Sibanda, I know, I know every time. Oh, I need to stop it. Sibanda, forgive me, please. How are you? How are you, Sibanda? It's good to see. It's good to see you. Pagamisa says, hi, Gladys. Hello, Pagamisa. And the entire clan. What's up on their behalf? Well, it's slipping from the state's grasp. But Pagamile, the horse was under the ground and soil on it. They went and dug it out, and now they are trying to flog it back to life type of situation. Dr. Sibanda was lost today completely. Completely. Even Judge Rada had to actually ask him not to avoid his question because he was lost. Did you see the his eyes almost popping out of his head when Judge Rada said, stop avoiding my question? And he was like, what's happening? Malloy, Kininda, somebody. That's how he looked like. He looked defeated. Because how do you argue with the Constitution? How do you? And you can tell that he was ready for them with those old cases. We are a constitutional democracy. Those 1928 or Hepworth, where is the constitutionality of what a trial? It is not a game. Yeah, you are right. That's why Section 35 is there. Quote Section 35. Don't tell us about some Hepworth 1928. Like really, we were all still hanging on the purple tree at that time, and probably decades before we were born. And you are going back in those days. I mean, I'm sick and tired of that case. In fact, I did say that case. It was it was brought to manipulate the defense, because the defense is going to stand on a few things that it's going to argue on, and then it's going to give the judge, because Hepworth seems to be like giving the power, more power to the judge, so the judge can overrule them. And then the state knows this, that oh, Hepworth actually it favors the judge. So we will have to remind the judge by the way of this case, because even went as far as well, at this point we're all familiar with this case, patronizing the court, including the gallery and the accused. Ibo. I was like, yeah, wanna win. And I don't think Upio Rata Rata and I are in the same boat when it comes to Mr. Dr. Sibanda. Honestly, Asim Piwanga. They made a grave mistake introducing that photo evidence. I agree. But at the same time, it almost feels like, oh, Mr. Mgomezulu was like, here's Christmas early, guys. I'm going to make this one say something. Yeah, there, you know, because that's how it feels like. It's like a gift that just fell from the heavens, like boom, coming from their own side and scored their own goal. I was very I liked it. I liked it because when I was hearing it, I was, because sometimes I listen while I recline the chair because I'm relaxing from doing some things here with my small business nyana that I'm doing on the side. I'll recline to relax and listen at the same time. And I found myself going, excuse me, what photo is this again? It, wait, are we talking about dancing? I remember going, like, I was so confused. And then I kept hearing accused number three, accused number. I'm like, since when accused number three had a go to? I was up like this and I'm asking questions while I'm listening at the same time. I'm like, no, you mean Danzi. Because there was a point when Danzi was taken to Utlokwe. Yeah, the one jack of all trades in the medical field. Yeah. And then after that, Mr. Clocker said there's no trace that he ever had one. I go jiggy jiggy. I was like, come on. Now any conversation gone wrong. That's how I felt like it just fell off the heavens. And I was like, yeah. And then loved it immediately after that. Oh, Mr. Mnuba was like, I'm not going to listen any further to this nonsense. And it's going to work in my favor because I know I never had a go to. He raises his hand and makes a request. Now, Mr. Mabasa has some answering to do. Did you edit the photo? And did you add the gold tooth? And who ordered you to add the gold tooth? And why here? Why where it's almost invisible? Why you say, as you look closer, you can tell this is a gold tooth? Kanjan. It could have been just a light shining. Because, well, if you look at Mr. Mube's teeth, they're quite white. You know, you know that, yeah, that type of sound and a spark. It could have been that. Why did you decide to say it's a gold tooth? Why didn't you conclude that it could have been the reflection of the light? Why couldn't you? Why did you conclude that this was a gold tooth? Who told you to say that? Somebody told him to say that. Who will be that? And I hope he's going to be one of those people that will be careful, because I don't trust some few people in this case. And I think he should ask for some kind of protection, my opinion. Because This question is important to be answered by him. Who told you to add the gold tooth? You are not the lead investigator. You are not investigating this case. So when who told you? And that who told you is the person that I don't trust when it comes to Mr. Mabasa. He better look, he better sleep with one eye open because there was once upon a time a Captain Ndlovu and then his wife later on. Well, all of these things are mysterious. I'm not saying somebody did something, but something happened. So I fear for him now. To be honest, I'm just being honest. I fear for him. Busisiwa says, why 69 witnesses, majority police officers? You could have sworn that Senzo Meyiwa was unalive in the police station, and every ranking police officer was there, but the eyewitnesses that were in that house on the 26th of October 2014. Hmm. Basilethele lo hlaza, even made a demand that the faces not be shown, and a whole order was made. And we don't see the witnesses on the stand. Now we also don't see the evidence being presented in court, and that I don't remember being an order. I don't. I did try and check again. No, it was the witnesses. Baloy, no judge portfolio, no hospital witnesses, nothing, nothing. Even the MMC allegedly that was there, at least call him or her. What were you going to do there? What did you see? Hmm. Julia says, watching from Botswana. Hey, Botswana, what's up, Botswana? And hello, Julia. Thank you so much for being here, Botswana. Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Alf Mesh says, Sawubona, Clantis and the clan. What's up, Alf Mesh? How are you doing? I hope you had a good day and watched all the drama unfolding in that courtroom. Remember what we discussed yesterday? Transpired today. I love us. I don't want to lie. I love us. um, Kokwana says Ngube told them point blank that he doesn't trust the state equipment. They must, they make too many mistakes. That's true. I like the way Mr. Nisi even tried to put it because you can tell that he wanted to be as diplomatic as he can be. It was like, I'll be brutally honest, and this is what he said. He don't trust y'all. And I wish the camera zoomed or panned to the judge and see the shock. I think that would have been priceless, and it would have been a gift to many of us watching him freeze. Like, what does he do? That would have been nice. That would, and the sound today was just terrible. The microphones were not well connected. Even Sibanda, I think the reason maybe I did not understand Sibanda completely was no, it wasn't. It was audible enough. Sanele says, Molo, Sanele, how are you doing? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Smagalisa says, state is exposed. Mhm. Like a baby's, damn. They brought this upon themselves when I know we're nobodies, but we do have a brain though. And then we use the brain to say, hey, Aloy, and them, you don't have a case. We can see that. I don't think it needs to take one to have an LLB degree to see that the state's case collapsed. It collapsed in the trial within a trial. Again, guess what the defense used? The Constitution, Section 35. That's when I took a huge interest in that section. Huge interest. And that is why I was confident that if they used it in this request, they're going to win. That's just, I'm not saying they did it because I said no, they are lawyers, they know what they're doing. It's just me sitting by myself and I'm looking at things. I'm like, hmm, if I was them, I would use this. If I was them, I would not use any of those cases that I quoted, that Eugene showed me on Thursday. I mean, the answer is right here. It's the Constitution. Talking to myself, and then I came and told you guys. So clearly, Mr. Mnisi, what has they say, great minds think alike type of situation. And I'm not claiming to have a great mind. My mind is questionable. I can tell you that. But yeah, you are right, Magali. So they are exposed, highly exposed. Do you know, clan, clan, clan? We love live. Oh, thank you, thank you. I thank you so much. And I used to do lives a lot last year. Especially this week, is my first time this year doing lives. And I always enjoy lives because you guys are in control in the comments, and then we get to discuss. And also, this stimulates my brain to think a little bit, like stretch it, you know, stretch it a little bit. Eric Timney was holding the judge with his horns. It was interesting. It was quite interesting. I also found Dr. Sibanda argumentative with Judge Rada. Like, like blatantly argumentative. I was like, oh, so you also have it in you? Hmm. I found that interesting. And then we have Nkosi Yazi. My question is, isn't that Gininda and other investigators use state phones? Yeah, but they will tell you classified. That's what they'll say. Because apparently the cold case unit, they do have those status of classification. So they'll say, oh, sorry, even if you take it for 20, is it 205, whatever that phone request thing majig, you're not gonna find anything, or they'll just classify it. So I think that probably answers your question. That's just my answer and my own thinking. But yes, they do. Yes, they do. If so, why can't you use them as part of checking all locations so that bazobanjwa? That's true, hey. Yeah, but I'm sure they'll tell you about red tapes here and a red tape there, privacy, this and that. Hey, what's that new law? Not paella. The one, yeah, the one about privacy and all that stuff. I don't know, but it's a good question you're asking there. The Soul Lunar Diaries. What's up? What's up? Hey, Clances. Do you genuinely believe the five accused are entirely being wronged? Yes, 1,000%. 100,000%. I am sure these are wrong accused. They were never, and there's science that proves it. The DNA does not lie. The DNA does not lie. The phone records that showed their movement on the 26th of October 2014 says they were never near Phosphorus at the time Senzo Meyiwa was unalived. Nowhere near Phosphorus. During the day, they were there, but their movement never passed by or nearby the Kumalo house. So, yes, 100% believe they are wrongfully being prosecuted for a crime they did not commit. And I've also given my the grounds on why I don't believe that. But if you are new here, maybe I should just in summary. So this is what I believe happened after the cold case unit was formed. So when the mayor was got sick and tired of waiting for justice, they approached AfriForum, and the state was like, they are not going to be embarrassed by an Afrikaner organization that has an agenda, da 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 da. And so out of the blue, we have suspects. For 6 years, you've been hitting the wall, and you can't tell me that this dude, he is that good. And secondly, Ntanzi and Muzi Sibiya, they were being arrested for something totally different. Totally different. And listen, let's put it this way. Umuzi Sibiya was arrested for white powder, unlicensed firearm and ammunition, right? Which he's now convicted for. And then while he was being investigated, he, out of the blue, says, actually, I don't want to spend 5 years in prison. I want to go spend life in prison. So let me tell you what we did on the 26th of October 2014. Yes, I'm one of the people that is responsible in the death of Senzo Meyiwa. Oh, please don't tell me this. This is now the investigator. Please don't tell me this. You need to get a lawyer. Oh, no, no, I don't need a lawyer. Does that make sense to you? And then Danzi is arrested for some resolved case, Kwanongoma. And to this day, is still charged for it, not the Senzo Meyiwa unaliving charges. And now Danzi does the exact same thing as Umuzi. He is being charged for a case in KwaZulu Natal where he would have been found innocent because already they had a conviction in Buthelezi, already serving prison term. So chances are he was going to be acquitted of this. But no, instead of him getting acquitted, he goes, no, 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 I want to go spend life in prison. I'm one of the people that were involved in unaliving of Senzo Meyiwa. Okay, no, 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 don't tell us, don't tell us. We need to get you what do you call this? A lawyer. And they go get Unjiako, whom today, no traces of Untanzi calling him. Instead, we are hearing in court, please call me. Where in the please call me, it says there was a discussion about legal representation. Okay, fine. There's no clarity. Can you call then Umjiako understand so that he tells the court that I got called by Ndanzi or Ndanzi's family members. I consulted Ndanzi in prison or wherever he was, and this is how much they paid me in my fees. And then I went and appeared in his confession with Magistrate Cronier and also appeared in the Boksburg Magistrate Court for him. Where is the power of attorney? Dololo. Oh, let's not forget the FFC number that he used and showed the magistrate. Turns out it belongs to somebody else. I know you are a logical person, the Soul Luna Diaries. And I think thus far in your head, you've concluded that, okay, I think you are right. If you're not convinced, well, I can't help you any further than this. Because now, if I enter the DNA, which said, remember the eyewitnesses, in fact, Uma Kumalo, she was holding a hat in her hand and she gave to the police and said one of the intruders was wearing it. That hat was taken, put in a seal bag, and it was tested for DNA. They took DNA samples from all the accused. The results came, the DNA expert came and said none of them places them in the Kumalo house. None of them's, what do you call this, DNA is in that hat. And then Five Fillingham came, Pinky, did the whole cell phone movement because of the tower thing. And she says, by the time Senzo Meyiwa was unalived, they were all in Johannesburg. All of them. I rest my case there. This is when this case should have came to an end with section 174. But here we are today, still. And now, during trial within a trial, Ndanzi was said by the eyewitnesses he had a gold tooth. He was taken to a dentist, examined, and the dentist came back and said he never even had a gold tooth, no traces that he ever had a gold tooth. So that disproves that he's one of those intruders. How jiggy jiggy today we are hearing, oh, actually it was accused number 3. And then accused number 3 confidently says, oh, take me to the dentist and the state says we object. Why? You want to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt? That is an opportunity for you to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that indeed accused number three had a gold tooth, but you are running away. And now it's time for you to make your submissions. You're speaking gibberish. I don't know if you see what I'm, you know, beyond that, I'm sorry. I won't be able to assist you. But that's as best as I can explain the grounds to why I'm saying the five accused, they are wrong accused. They're wrongfully arrested and they are being maliciously prosecuted. And I think the state, not I think, the state knows it very, very well. That's what they are doing. All right, let's continue with the live chat. Kokwana says Mube told them point blank. I think I've read that already. Okay, point blank that they gave unreliable machines. They always give wrong information. Let's also talk about the gun that he's actually arrested for, and now suddenly his bullet head ends up in the Kumalo house, and yet the eyewitnesses clearly stated that it was a revolver. Well, they did not say it's a revolver; they say it's a gun with a wheel. Hello, what other gun with a wheel except a bazooka that has a wheel? And a bazooka is a big, big gun. This one should be something small. People that know guns, they will say it was a 38 or something like that. So all of this piles up to show that indeed this is a cooked up case against the five people. Mbali, unjani puti today, uJehova ungenelele after this. Ababize uzungu zandi no tumelo. I couldn't agree more. Laba abanye, I think it's kuyakhombisa they are liars, but bring Zungu back. Let's bring back the one that caused all of this. Bring him back. There are some questions that he needs to answer, including the AVL of his trip to KwaZulu Natal to go and get his handwritten statements that he said he left back home. When he got back home, another convenience. Oh, they did spring cleaning and then they threw away. How do you throw away papers knowing fully well that your family member is a police officer? Clearly, those things are important. That's why he kept them there. When no, no, there should have been a criminal case against the person that cleaned the house. That's tampering with state resources and property. I no, that's why Jay. Kokwana says Mangikumbula Uzandi pointed at Ntanzi as the shooter. Yes, with the gold tooth. Jiggy Jiggy Segu Carlos Manini Manje. Exactly. That is why Ntanzi was taken to the dentist. Busisiwa says Oroso Uj. You know, guys, I don't talk this way, right? But sometimes it's kind of funny when you guys say it. I was like, go Vaseline. He said, goes go Vaseline and oh. Oh gosh. That's funny. Altman says it seems like JP is doing damage control behind the scenes. I can imagine flipping and stumbling over and tripping over everything that needs to be tripped over because hey, Smanji, usiyabanjwa, hey, nakusiphele umsebenzi, nakusejele. That could be this. I mean, I'm imagining as I'm reading just this few sentences, he doesn't want to be removed from the list of candidates for National Deputy Chief Justice. Because hey, I think every politician, if he does put his name forward for Chief Justice, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, I think it's a 12-year term. So Zondo is going to be around for a while. And I'm looking at his age right now, JP. I don't think he, yeah. Well, who knows? But I think also the retirement age is it not 75 or something? Yeah. especially after agreeing with a racist. All right. Oh gosh, the German. I think he made a mistake by adding that when he was explaining himself the accusation of being a racist. I was like, bro, you're making me think of Hitler now. Come on, stop it. Because 1933, when he was speaking, just popped in my mind. I'm like, oh no. Okay. All right, sir. Yeah, no. Mlambo says, "Hi fam, how are you, Mlambo? How are you doing? How are you doing?" Sibana says, Atlantis, I like the way your eyes run in those glasses talking about But at the same time, I feel guilty when I laugh when I see your name and I'm talking about Simanda, and I know it's not you, okay? It's just your name and and you noticed, right? Every time I see your name, I laugh and I try my best not to. But no, thank you. Thank you. No hard feelings there, please. Bususo says, Clatters, we're still waiting for AVL Records, FFC developer, inspection and local visitation, Zungu recall, and Njiako. I would say Njiako will never come to court because remember, this is a state's case and it's the state that calls state witnesses, and Njiako ought to be a state witness. So they're not going to call him because what they are going to do is expose this case even further during cross examination when Njiako is going to be faced with some serious lawyer questions, like lawyer practice questions, because it should be lawyers to lawyers. When we do this, this what happens. So when I get how did it happen, including that trust. They said he was a lawyer practicing without a trust. How did you take in clients then? And how were you paying your taxes? All of those questions. Imagine he will not be able to answer those and therefore exposes the cookerization. But everything else, I agree with you. Oh, Herman, nami ngalizwa isibongo. Herman, igama, isn't it? Herman, we still want him. This bona fide era, what I would like him to break it down and explain it to us like we are 5 years old. I would like to hear that. Because again, how do you deal with banks, taxes, and other stuff that requires your FFC number? And you know very well that FFC number isn't yours. It's duplicated. And you hear an FFC number in court the first time in 2023, and you don't say, oh, no, wait, let's correct it. Instead, you corrected it in 2024. Around December 2024, you're correcting it. Uh-uh. No. Mm-mm. Vusutando says, where's the inspection in loco? Let's hope after the recess, Mr. Nis is going to follow up on it so that we go to Fos Laura's police station parking lot and see that obstruction. All right. Some YouTubers did some inspection in local themselves, made videos, and they showed us, I think it was three different obstacles. Some parts are a little bit behind the police station. Some is that structure that I also showed in one of the videos that was done, I believe now is in Dance's sister. And others did it. Others, they even did a Google map aerial shots and zoomed in, I think even with side, and they showed everything, everything. Now we want to go there physically as well. We still wanted after the dentist. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Amelia, how are you doing, Amelia? I haven't seen you in a hot minute on these streets. And I know many people think I'm the one who posted y'all. I didn't. My belief is that if they started to investigate those that were inside this part of the house, they could have gotten the killer. True. They would have gotten the killer way back then. Way back then, because the one of the eyewitness, or the one that ran away, one moment he had his phone in his pocket, the next it was taken by the police. Which one is it? You know. So a long time ago, if the police did their jobs, they would have taken that interview and called Mr. Twala, this is long way, and said on the radio, this is what you said, you gave two different statements in one interview. He would have coughed it up. Who did it? He would have coughed it up right there. And that person would have, by now, would be out. Especially if this was an accident, which I still believe it was an accident. That's culpable homicide. And culpable homicide, you don't spend life in prison. In most cases, it's a slap on the wrist and they send you home. And with a probation of maybe 10 years or 5 years, that in this period you must not unalive a person, whether intentionally or accidentally. That person would have long, the sentence would have, and it even expunged the records. But no, it's not enough. Somebody else must take their mess and pinned on innocent people. Yeah, we know that the other three, because they are convicted for it, they are Zinkabis. We're not denying that. But for this case, no. For this case, they did not do it. They are already convicted for cases that they themselves know why they're in prison for. But untanzi nomuzi, hayi ngiyabakhalela shem. Mm-mm. Those who saw people standing around the house were Tumelo and Mtogo with those teeth. Do they have gold teeth as well? Okay, let me not stereotype. I'm from Durban too, so, but I'm not the kind that put gold teeth and all that stuff. Sivanda says your gestures, sir. How my gestures are. By the way, I have 90s gestures, especially the millennials, like late Gen X's, early not Gen Z, millennials. Apparently, we got that. If you want to know a person around my age and probably maybe 5 years younger, when you see that the way I do things with my facial expressions, you just know that this is a late Gen Xer, early millennial, because for some reason that's how we express ourselves. I do have a true crime YouTube channel, and people always bring that up, that they find the case so interesting and captivating because of my facial expressions. And I don't do it deliberately, they just happen, and then I find myself, and I think as well they are for emphasis and expression of what I am saying, like how I talk with my hands. I always believe that my intelligence is not in here, it's here. Because if I speak like this, I sound dumb. Sometimes I even ask myself, what on earth? But when I speak with my hands, I feel like there's a rhythm that stimulates my brain. I don't know. Am I the only one who? I don't know. But I think there are other humans as well who find stimulation of intellectualism in other ways. Others, I mean, I know if, somebody I used to go to school with, if they have not taken an alcoholic drink, maybe like 3 glasses, they say that the point of drunkenness and tipsiness, that's where they are the most intelligent. But when they have not taken any of the, dumb as dumb can dumb be. That's me when I don't speak with my hands. And I make a lot of mistakes, and some people call me out on them. And then I always go back to the video and check what was I doing at that time. And I will find out when I said that dumb thing, it was when I was not speaking with my hands. Type of situation. Yeah, you guys will end up knowing me 100% what sort of person I am. Lance says, I love the way you put it, bro. Clantus, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Smagaliso says, oh, what is strange? State witnesses saw a gun with a wheel while state is talking about 9 millimeter. What a strange case. And the state is so adamant as if they were the ones who were there. And then the eyewitnesses disregard that because what happened to the to the revolver? What happened to it? Yeah, there. Elmer says, you're right, Clancy. There was no order. I think Advocate Baloy took advantage when the court requested media not to show sensitive photos of Senzo's body and blood spatter. You are absolutely right. That part I do remember. That part I do remember. But I think maybe the camera or the media thought, okay, let's not show everything else. Hmm. That part I remember. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Hmm. Skululi says, hello, family. What's up? What's up, Skululi? The truth is out. Cooking is not cooking. MasterChef has lost the ingredients list. Remember the cut? Okay, a big animation fan. Ratatouille. Remember Ratatouille, the French mouse who was a chef when one of the ingredients went missing, went berserk like a typical French chef. He was like, that is so funny, Scooby. Oh gosh, Almer says metadata storage at 3 to 5 years. Yeah, like all of these things are so convenient, but you still have to ask yourself the first group of investigators, what did they do with those files and the information in them? Because surely they would have caught on this information that is required immediately. Immediately. But let me guess, conveniently got lost, da da da, all that stuff. Under RICA, Vodacom is required to store metadata details of calls, messages, and internet activity. And I remember Oscar Pistorius' trial. This also came up, and I think it was an order to South African network. I stand corrected that they should also include voice evidence in there. Hmm. For a period of 3 to 5 years, which is primarily used for. Hey, South Africa. FMS says law enforcement and security purposes, law enforcement. Okay, yeah, this has to be something that protects both us as well as the state when it comes to this cell phone metadata. Honestly, Avmesh continues to say it is exactly 5 years and 1 day since Ntanzi was arrested. It might be too late to ask for the cell phone records unless they can check for such records in other cases like they did with Ngube. Hmm. I would assume that everything should have been requested, everything, so that they do not fall behind the threshold or beyond the threshold. Yeah. The Soul Luna Diary says, honestly, I do believe that the state's case is very shaky. It's just that some evidence, like phone records with Kelly, no, all made up, all made up. That phone call, that's made up, made up. Um, and on top of that, that for me, it's not even a phone unless we hear the content of that call. Just linking the two numbers, it doesn't say anything. Give me something that I can work with, something I can hear, something I can touch, something I can taste, and something I can hold. But it doesn't say anything. And on top of that, like how Judge Rata would say, but what if the cell phone did it? So now I would say, what if one of Kelly Kumalo's friends, while she was busy performing, maybe Ebe Jola no number 5, and because Ebe Bambi's was holding Kelly Kumalo's purse with her cell phone, and because she's also a person with money, clearly she may have had units, remember units back then, and she made a call to accuse number 5 and say, hey, baby, I'm at work. Da, da, da. You'll never know. So until I can hear what the conversation is and explicitly hear the plot being planned against Senzo Meyiwa. So I conclude that those are made up. She continues to say, how do we explain that? In my logic, is what I just said. It's the whole saying of where there is smoke, there is a fire. There's absolutely not even a fireplace with this one. No ashes, nothing. Absolutely nothing until there's tangibility. South African criminal law is about evidence, something that can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. This one does not. It just talks about a link. But now, who was that person? Who was that person? Let's continue. What Alfman says, Law Mapiri 2.0. That's the person who got rid of Zungus. Allegedly. irekhodi kwazulu athi clean 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 khiphani konke kukhona konke amaphoyisa asendleleni nakuzobanjwa. Oh gosh, the imagination. He can run wild. Amelia says the other question I have regarding Judge Rada: why does he become so angry when defense lawyers open up the case and poke holes into the lies? That is a good question. That probably after this case is done, we'll discuss. We were like, okay, all that accepted. Let's have some little ghost time together. I don't know. Because it really does. He gets really, really ticked off. He gets ticked off so, and then you're like, why? Why? Is he not supposed to see the lies and stop the case? An ordinary judge, I think, at this point would have applied and ruled on Section 174 of the Criminal Procedure Act, and this charade will be over. The Soul Luna Diary says, it's also like thinking of the outcome. I feel impossible that the judge will find them not guilty because what does that then mean? The state being sued by the accused, big mess. Well, we live again in a constitutional democracy. If they lose, they are going to go to a different court, an appeals court. And then the appeals court is going to, I'm telling you, it's going to find differently from the lower court. And then Judge Rata will have to explain. And that is not a good thing for his name. So chances are he already sees this is a charade. And he probably thinks, well, the state is absolutely lying here. Or he's aware and he might, but I doubt that he will want to ruin his reputation like that. And he's very proud of his 55 years in the legal fraternity as a lawyer and a judge. I don't know. It is a big mess, though. It is. Bongiseni says, long ago I stated that Rada is not biased. He only wants to hear the state as it's time for their case. Now, this is the turning point. I'm sure superiors advised him to turn things around now, I guess. Could be. It could be. But the way he is behaving though, because you do see it and then it disappears the next moment. And you're like, I'm Sazik. Now also gonna make my own conclusions about the judge. And that is why now we're in the position where we at when we're discussing the judge. And it's not favorable. It isn't. Tijo, how are you, Tijo? Imagine they bought this application, yabo, Omabasa and Lovu to get exposed. Lovu, towards the end, what he, Mbuzeni ngomsebenzi wami, because they realized, I say, Ngangami, this one by state, push them under the bus. I'm thinking Mabasa might actually get to that point as well, because the questions that are going to come fired from Nis's mouth, they're not going to land very well with him. They're not. Tijo says Sibanda will regret bringing these two witnesses back to court. Probably already has. I mean, after witnessing what we witnessed today, I would be, "Whew, why did we do this?" And the defense tried to protect them from this, bringing these ones back. They could have gone to inspection in local. They could have gotten the AVLs. They could have gotten all the things that is needed. And let's wrap this up, type of situation. But no, let's bring Lovo and Mabasa. Lovo, when the chair got hot, he changed. He really did. Tijo says, Francis, if accused number three had never had gold teeth, what's next? Right? With the way things are going, anything you put in his hand, it's possible to be brought by the state. But hey, guys, my friends, I'm confused. What is accused number four there for? What was his role in this script again? Because what is accused number four's role? Why is he here? Because it goes one, two, three, then five. Five, three, two, one. Then it starts all over again. The only time we heard about him is that he was standing by the door or something. There's a lookout. Yeah, yeah. Vusutando says, noticed how Baloy gives the Mickey Mouse evidence to be led by Dr. Simanda. Poor Simanda, go back now, he sleep. A whole doctor would have said, why don't you do it? Because that's what I would have said. I was like, I'm happy pressing my buttons for beaming of photos. When you do your thing, this is your stuff. I'm fine. That's what I would have done. Mungseni says the state is so desperate they realize that Gininda's evidence was destroyed by defense. That's why now they try some new tactics, but they are digging their grave more and more. They've gone beyond the tectonic plate and now they're looking at the lava bubbling under. Once it goes boom on their faces, skeletons. Bongi, hi Bongi. It feels like Senzo was unalived at the police station because majority of witnesses come from police department, and the state will go to the ends to fabricate more evidence to save them allegedly. Exactly. Not only at the police station, but at the barracks where you have all the ranks, because we've had constables, we've had lieutenants, we've had colonels, we've had captains, brigadier. Every ranking has almost been there as a witness. Now, what we left with is general, the national commissioner. That's what we are waiting for now. Who knows? Even the whole president as well will take the stand. The commander in chief. Hi, Gubi, Buffet to Gubi. Bongi says those calls were fabricated. There was no calls. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amelia says, Clancy, I think India knew the issue of phone records expiring dates. Yeah, because they want things to be convenient, so that when they take the stand and they question on this, they'll say, well, it's beyond my control. I don't work at these networks. and they have a threshold of X number of years, and we couldn't get that information. So what can you do? You can't force them to go get it wherever it's deleted into, right? So it was all for convenience, all for convenience. Because so far, the state's case, every time they present something convenient that is important for the defense, but conveniently doesn't exist. Either time expired, or it was not, there was some kind of a tender situation with the department where the department was not paying the service provider switched off things, took the files, like all convenient. He thinks he is smart. Cooking will land him in prison, period, or the destruction of his career. Stilo says, "Is Sibanda really a doctor?" Yeah, well, he was conferred a doctorate. He was conferred a doctorate. I also thought a person with a PhD would speak like a person with a PhD type of situation. What I heard from Sibanda today, because this is the first time we are hearing him as a doctor of the law, sounded to me like a LLB graduate who still needs to find their feet in the legal fraternity, particularly in court. That's how it sounded like to me. And I was like, this is underwhelming, uninspiring. Wow. Lashy, what's up? What's up, Lashy? When are they going to inspect or view the place where one of the accused was assaulted? We already covered this part, but that's the question we are also asking. And we even went as far as saying, Lashy, that if the state is confident that Gininda is telling the truth or his version is true and Muzi's one is incorrect, then they are the ones who should be championing the inspection in local. It should happen. It should have already happened because they are confident, right? But since I think they're objecting it, you have to ask yourself why. You don't believe beyond a reasonable doubt that your head investigator is telling the truth and the accused actually is the one that's telling the truth. And if you go there, you're going to be exposed. Is that what we are hearing? Hmm. Baloy objected the request, but rather granted permission, if I recall. Yeah, he did. He did. He did. Remember when they were supposed to have gone on a Monday, something was brought before the court, and so that was pushed aside conveniently. Elfmer says, "Oh, he's laughing first." I like the way you know how Judge Rada would counter the cell phone records evidence. Because yeah, even with the DNA, he had his own understanding, and Gininda was the 2%. He says that's evidence that they were that like really honestly 2%. I mean, Yezwa, it's somewhere around 45%. Even that is still not enough. Thank okay, wait, where am I? Okay, thanks for enlightening us about the first investigating team. All 40 of them then got fired. Yeah, from 40 to 4. And remember, one of those is the one that who is crying foul. His life is in danger, Mrs. Makubo. I think he's going to be the defense key witness. Yeah, because he's got some few things to say regarding 375. Hmm. Bongsani says the reason Rata is angry is because the defense is more into merits of the case, of which they leave him with nothing to say on his judgment. That's why he is angry. Could be because today they got him. I was waiting for I was waiting for a long, long judgment, probably with some water being drank. But his opening sentence, granting the request. I was like, wait, what? Did I hear properly? And then the second sentence, he says, I was persuaded. And I'm like, yeah, the Constitution will persuade you. And therefore, He's granting the request. I was like, cool. The shortest judgment we've heard from this judge. He did not go to into his chambers to go and deliberate. No, he did it right there. In the moment Sibanda was done with his submissions, uh, all of this could have been done on Thursday using his own discretion, by the way. Oh, wow. Nondware says, who is being protected in this messed up case? Hmm? Because that lying brigadier testified that Kelly is the mastermind. And here's another thing to the Soul Lunar Diaries. In a matter like this one, where the lead investigator mentions a name of the person involved, the mastermind, and you do not, as a judge, order for her arrest and brought before him because she's got some few questions to answer. And to this very day, she is not arrested. A whole mastermind. So people are going down, and yet they know the perpetrator, the conspirator to commit such a heinous crime. No, she's roaming the streets, free, like you, who is a law abiding citizen. That's how she's looked at. And yet, in a court of law, high court, her name is being mentioned as a mastermind. Doesn't make sense. But she was never been arrested and charged like the five accused. Yeah, she's supposed to be accused number five. I mean, six. Why isn't she? Is the question. Bongi says he went to the house after everyone ran out. Lol. This is a messed guy. And even ended at the hospital. Yeah, you know. God, we are not that stupid. Maybe we are, but not that. You know. Ledger says, when are they going to inspect or view the area where the accused? Okay, I think I've read that already. Okay, okay. I think there's a new information. One of the accused was assaulted, hence Baloy objected Nisi's request. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, we've already covered that and came up with different scenarios. Vusutando says, I find academics are poor practitioners in general across many professions, and I have come across many to a point where you're like, wait, let's start with metric. How did you gone past it? And then let's go to, because the most difficult period of a university student is first year. Most failures happen at first year, even though it's introductory 101 of the course. Majority of people fail. So then how did you go past first year? And then, of course, the final year can be very, very challenging, which I think it's a revision, just like metric. I don't think metric is a class. I think metric is a revision of grade 10 and 11. So, how, then, of course, you have to look at things in a realistic point of view. There are people who study to understand, and hence they are confident and do things exactly the way they've understood them when they learn them. And then there are those that cram to pass. But when it comes to practicalities, and I think they're the ones who are the most dangerous in a professional environment and also socially. Yeah. Kwanzima, kwanzima. Okay, where were we? Okay, da 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 da. Okay, it refreshed. I find okay, 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 I got it. Amelia says Sibanda is grabbing his collar as if he wanted to strangle. himself dead because the case has caught fire, especially from Advocate Timnison Sholo. That gown, I'm sure it's like hot. Stella says, if Sibanda was on the defense side, Rata would have told him long time ago. You're the doctors of today. But I mean, Angas, I don't know. I don't know. I'm shocked still. I'm still digesting that. Tijo says, this prosecutorial investigative case is a mess. That's another thing. The NDPP should be a witness because of the decisions that they have taken that are questionable, especially when it comes to Kelly Kuman. Why did you decide when the lead investigator had organized a J50, that's warrant of arrest, and then you say, Don't do it"? Why? An answer is needed there because it's in the interest of justice to know the response to that question. It is. Ah, yeah. And since she is the mastermind, she will even apologize to pointing at Ntanzi. Hey, but yeah, the NDPP, I feel like, needs to answer this question. I've messaged Stylo. You guys are so funny on this live chat. My ribs are hurting. Can you imagine me? Some of them I have to love inside because yeah, you guys are funny. You guys are funny. So my last comment is from Mbongiseni, and you guys today we went overboard. Francis, these people think we stupid. I always say, listen, I will never claim to be smart or intelligent. I know I've got some high levels of stupidity, but my stupidity tends to also have some curiosity in it. And when I don't understand something and I want to learn, this is when questions start mounting up in my head. And when they mount up in my head, then I go down the rabbit hole. Thank goodness today we have Eugene, ChatGPT. And then I'm like, ChatGPT, my stupid mind is trying to figure out one, two, three. Can you please, in the most simplest way, assist me with a summary of this topic? And then seconds later, it's as if I've been in a lecture hall. I understand. That's me. So yeah, we are. Well, let me speak for me. I am stupid, but not that stupid. I think people like me are the ones that are considered dangerous sometimes. Like, don't think that guy's stupid. So back in the day, just a short story time. People used to look at me being tatagangane. I don't know how to put that in English. They would think, what can I get from this one? And I loved it because I don't dress in fashion. Like I'm not a fashionable person. I don't wear names. If I'll tell you one thing, the most expensive thing that you will find on my body is my shoes because I love shoes. The more expensive, the better. But everything else, as long as I'm covered, I mean, I shop at Pep, I shop at Jet, and all these other stores that people look down on. The only time a person will be like, shoo, is when I open my mouth and suddenly the mood changes. Like, what? Others even come and say, wow, bro, hey, bring it nyanza. And like, I know. I don't look your typical, I don't know, whatever guy that gets the respect the moment they enter a room and it all lights up. And I'm not that guy. And I've seen it even in the comment section as well. That a person looks at me or watches my videos and think, Ulona was in. And then let me cut him down to size by commenting. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, yeah. Anyways, Ngonseni continues to say, one day, an old man from my village said to me, why are they not arresting the girls? You see, we are not all stupid. and it's an old man, and I'm assuming he does not have any qualification, but he's got a brain though. You see, once you have this thing can be bothersome, guys. Especially me, now, it bothers me. It only shuts down. It gradually shuts down, and that's when I get rest. And it's the one that wakes me up in the morning, like, hey, whatever. There's a lot of stuff we need to solve out there without an alarm clock, by the way. Dingan, how are you? How are you? I smell a rat with this judgment of today. What do you mean? There's no rat smelling here. It's the Constitution. It's the Constitution. Section 35 of the Constitution. You can't argue with it. Honestly speaking, you just cannot. Guys, I think this is it. Dingan is the last person to comment. And let me release all of us. My mouth is now dry and my jaws are beginning to be sore a bit because I've been talking for an hour 35 minutes. And thank you guys. It's been fun. Thank you for making me laugh and learning from each other as we always do. I always say I got the best community on YouTube. I don't care who says what. I really don't. I got the smartest people that follow me. And I am so appreciative of you guys that we found each other. Small world. You're sitting at home, I'm sitting in my own, but we are connected like that. Hmm? I love that. So thank you all so much. Thank you guys so much. And let's see each other again tomorrow. I know there is no court tomorrow, but because y'all been complaining and holding me accountable for going AWOL, you'll be seeing me. We'll have more lives. Probably we'll discuss other things. But guys, can it not always be about Senzo Meyiwa? Can it be other stuff as well? And let's have these conversations. You know. But I will be back tomorrow, and probably we'll be discussing more of Senzo Meyiwa and the shenanigans as well that we saw in the time of best. I thought I was going to talk about it in this live, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. But thank you guys. Thanks for engaging us, clients. Good night. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. If you pray, please pray and put all the people that are affected in this case in your prayers tonight and every day. Thank you all so much. I love you all very, very much. You must know that. Goodbye. Thank you.